What up, good people? Welcome to Relationship Thursday. We are in the house, and I'm happy that y'all are here with us.
What's going on? Relationship Thursday is in full effect. What's happening? That's what I was trying to get to. Hi, everybody. I don't think folks on Zoom can see us. What's up, Blamily? And what's up, TikTok and Instagram and YouTube? All of the things. Are we on YouTube?
There we are.
Oh, come on with it.
I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this show forever. I know what I'm doing. Man.
Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. How y'all doing? What's going on, Flawless 50, T. Taylor, Aligned One? What's going on? Justin, Hansa, Ellen, Graham, D'Angela, Amber. I see you all on IG as well. Everybody, welcome to what is going to be a very interesting Relationship Thursday. Very interesting. And we are going to talk about some things that we've been talking about in our meetings. And when I say our meetings, you know, we're in planning time for 2025. Any business owners out there, you start to plan, what are we going to do? What have we noticed? What observations do we have about the work that we do, the people that we serve, where we want to go, what's working, what's not working, you know, all those kind of things. And so this topic came out of that. It came out of that. And so I'm excited to talk about it tonight. But before I keep going, stop acting like everybody know who he is. Not who we are, but who he is. This right here.
Your hands are cold.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
This right here is my dapper, debonair, amazing husband, my confidant, my boo baby. The one who is going to take me out somewhere today or tomorrow.
Really?
Or Sunday. I said this earlier, y'all. I was like, what did I say? What did I say? I remember what I said. I can't remember exactly, but did you get it? Did you catch it?
Yeah, like you want to spend some alone time.
I said I need some us time. Mm-hmm. Some us time. So it don't matter. He gonna take me out, I'm gonna take him out, but we getting out. We are going somewhere. So what's up, Naomi? So tonight, y'all, we're talking about the hidden truth about infidelity. The hidden truth about infidelity. We're gonna actually get into some truths about infidelity and talk about like what we have learned over the years doing this work. Familiarize people with what the years mean, like how when we started and all that, so people have some context for what we're about to get into.
Yeah,
tonight.
so this right here is my lovely and incredible wifey. We're both trained therapists. We've been together for 29 years, married for 22. We got 5 children, and so we've been doing this work for a minute, y'all, working together, helping couples, individuals, and families over the course of the past 14 years. So we have an extensive history in terms of leaning in to help people stabilize, improve the quality of their relationship, strengthen the relationship. What we've noticed is that a lot of people out here struggling when it comes to experiencing safety in their relationship, emotional safety specifically, and also positioning themselves to actually thrive in their relationship. And so that's what we focus on, y'all, helping you around communication, commitment, connection, and courage, leaning in to becoming your best version of yourself so that you can, bring that to your relationship. How many people in here value emotional safety in your relationship? Type a 1 in the chat if you value emotional safety. If it's important to you, type a 1 in the chat. Type a 1 in the chat. Do me a favor, if you could describe it with maybe 2 words.
Yeah.
2 words. Give me a description of when you think emotional safety, what comes to mind for you? Give me 2 words. 2 words. When you think emotional safety, like what's conjured up? Any poets? Any people that can actually
put it in
create creative imagery with words. Yeah. Anything come up for you? Seen and heard?
I know you got some.
I think I was about to say more than 2 words, but I think cold lemonade.
Cold.
I think sweet tea.
Oh, I think about the word infidelity, and then you said cold lemonade. No, you said emotional safety.
Agape love. Yeah, emotional safety. Yeah, I think warm blanket.
Oh, covering me. I like
covering.
that.
Yes.
Pat Stevens said covering
emotional maturity.
That right there, aligned one. Mm-hmm. Emotional maturity. And Nunu said being heard peacefully. Mm-hmm. Yes. That's good.
Full exposure. Yeah, Coach Sonny.
That's good.
So all of these are definitely ways to describe emotional safety, and it's really important. It's really important. And so, when there is a lack of emotional safety, one thing that I also know is that people are not showing themselves, and people aren't necessarily fully being seen in the relationship. I see soft girl life over here on IG. And so you want to make sure that you're positioning yourself in a relationship where you can give, as Ellen said, unjudged acceptance, and then you can also be open to it. Because sometimes, whether y'all know it or not, sometimes, depending upon how you've positioned yourself and what your historical experiences may have been, you may find yourself, even if your partner has the best intention to create a safe space, because you're viewing their actions through a certain filter, like, you may not be receptive to what it is they're trying to give you. And so it's hard for you to let your guard down. It's hard for you to relax your shoulders. It's hard for you to allow yourself to be seen. And so even if your partner has the best intentions where they're trying to create the emotional safety, like, you still have to do your work and get rid of that brick wall. That's on you, bro. That's on you, sis. Like, you got to do that piece right there. They got their part, but you got your part too.
That's good. That's good. All right, y'all. So we're going to get into some things. And I just want to say this, as we're talking about infidelity tonight, we're talking really about betrayal, and being perhaps like just taken by surprise, just having the rug pulled from up underneath you in your relationship. It conjures up all kinds of things. But what we're going to share with you all tonight is like above and beyond just the starting trauma of cheating and that kind of thing. We're going to take you through a process of what we've observed, not only when people come to us dealing with this, and what we've seen over the years, but also when we really get into it, when people take the time. Somebody take the time. When people take the time to really get into it, and when I say get into it, I mean make the decision to lean in and say, why am I here, God? Why am I here? Now, many of y'all, like, I'm here because his ass or her ass, thank you, Jasmine. She typed, take the time. They did what they did, and that's why we're here, and I shouldn't be here. I ain't supposed to be here. This is beneath me. I don't roll like this, and it's, all that kind of stuff. I just want to gently suggest for you, to everybody, that wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. I just want to set the tone with that. I know that's a hard one for many of us to digest. I have been like digesting that on a whole nother level in my life, more recently. And what I mean by that, what's up, Solomon? What I mean by that is whatever you resist persists. And so wherever we find ourselves in our journey, in our personal journeys, in our relationship journeys, in our marriages, it doesn't mean that you deserve this or you earned it or God is doing this to teach you a lesson. We ain't coming down those type of streets. But what it does mean is that there is an opportunity. There's a book, we got it over there. I think you had it out recently. It's like this about crisis, right? It's about your crisis.
It's called Welcome to Your Crisis.
Welcome to your crisis, right? Like, your crisis is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to pause for a moment and say, what is going on here beneath my shock, beneath my awe, beneath my rage, right? Like, what's happening here? And the only way you can figure that out is if you're willing to take the time to do your spiritual work, to get close to God and say, what's happening? Please, Lord, speak to me. And to take the time to, in my estimation, to get in proximity to other people who've been where you are now, and who are willing and able to talk to you about how they've gotten through. And so wherever you find yourself, wherever you flow and go, if you've experienced infidelity, whether you say, oh, I'm getting some messages that let me know it's time for this to be a wrap. It's time to move on. Or I'm getting some messages that let me know that this is worth fighting for. This is worth me leaning into, and this is worth me doing some work with my partner because I want this to work, not just because I said so. Catch the difference, because I've taken the time to get still and ask for God's guidance. I've taken the time to talk with other people who are trusted folks who have some experience, not just because I'm conditioned to stay in a funky ass marriage, not because I'm just conditioned to roll out, because if you do me wrong, I cut you off for life, period, I'm out. Not that stuff. That's ego. we've been talking about the negative ego over in the Art of Overcoming community. So when you do that, right, you'll land right where you're supposed to be. And wherever we are, there's an opportunity for us to grow. And so we've noticed some themes along the way, and we just want to share that with y'all tonight. And we want y'all to be honest about what you feel as we share.
Yeah, do me a favor, y'all. Type a 1 in the chat if you know of anybody that has successfully overcome infidelity. Type a 1 in the chat. I think that this is important. Not that I know it's important, because a lot of times when it comes to this issue of infidelity, what we believe about our relationship is framed based off of what we've experienced. And what we've experienced can be directly related to a relationship that we've been in the past, or based off of what we've seen. And I'm not talking about watching Hallmark movies, or I'm not talking about watching, Love Jones or whatever it is that you're looking at. I'm talking about real life experiences. If you've seen or if you know of a couple that's overcome infidelity, type a 1 in the chat. Type a 1 in the chat.
And not, baby, qualify what overcome me. Not that they just stayed together and there's still some slippery stuff going on. Not that they just push through and they don't even like each other no more. Mm-hmm. We're talking about successfully. You know what I mean? They better than they was before. Mm-hmm. Real talk.
Yeah, scroll up on TikTok so I can see what they're saying. So I see on Instagram, we're seeing some ones come through. I see on TikTok we see a bunch of ones as well.
But Nunu says she doesn't know anyone, or he, I'm not sure who, if it's a he or she, doesn't know anyone who has.
I see some zeros.
Long term.
Yeah, and so let me just say this right here. So, I mean, everybody in the Blaming should be typing 1. Because for those of y'all who are on here, like you're looking at a couple that successfully overcome infidelity. You're looking at us, and so we've navigated this space a long time ago, and we're at the place where we are right now, having a stronger, thriving relationship. So all of the reels that you see, the dancing, the kissing, the hugging, the commentary that you see us providing is coming from lived experience and also professional experience. But we've been there, done that, been through it, and so the answer is, and we more better. As a result of what we've had to do in terms of putting in the work into ourselves and in our relationship. And so it's possible, y'all. So I'm just lifting that up for those of y'all that may have typed 0 or wasn't able to answer in the affirmative. Like, you're looking at a couple. And there's other couples who are on here right now, couples that we work with that have successfully overcome too. So just want to make that clear.
And usually the people who have not been able to, and this is not any kind of like condemnation, right? And let me just say this. I feel like we say it in many ways all the time. We are fans of marriage. We are fans of committed relationship. We're fans of working it through, but not above and beyond you being able to get in touch with where you are and what you need as an individual. There are some people who need to let that be a moment in time where it guides them to their best and most authentic self, which means they need to be like peace them out because they're not in a space and place where it can be overcome. So we are committed to your individual development first, which will then inform what you're gonna do in your relationship. So just be clear about that, okay? But damn, I was saying that because what did you just say? Y'all know I be doing this. I be forgetting.
Yeah, we've overcome. You looking at a couple?
Oh, and I was going to say, but the people who either have not overcome because they have tapped out, because they are just mad, because whatever, and everybody has the right to do what they need to do, but because they haven't really taken the time, those are the ones who are the loudest. Somebody type, it'd be the ones, they be the loudest. The ones who are moving through, they don't be as loud. And I just want to challenge everybody, especially in the Blamily folks online tonight. If you are working it through, if you have worked it through, there are stages to our overcoming. And I remember a space and time in our relationship where as we were sharing our story and as we were talking to people, like it was real heavy to do that. You know what I mean? And we had overcome. We was like on stage, out, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But it was still heavy, right? Like, but you got to get to a certain place where you understand not just what you've been through, not just your own personal work, what God has shown you in the process and been able to lean back into connection with your partner. You got to get into a place where you understand that when you get insight, on some level, you're obligated to use it. There are too many of us walking around. We have this wisdom. We have this overcoming that we've done, but we don't want to share it. We don't want to share it. We don't want to share it because we're scared of judgment, because the clapback be real big, right? I'm sure there'll be plenty of clapback online tonight as y'all hear us, like, whatever. Right, but we have to be really intentional about understanding that anything you go through in your life, if you're a person of faith, right, God wants you to use every single thing for him to get the glory and also for you to be able to become all that you need to be. So in some way, shape, or form, it don't mean you got to be like us online talking about it, but in some way, shape, or form, how are you sharing? How are you sharing and blessing other people who don't know? Because people don't be the ones that all the people who against even trying to work on anything, who be the loudest. I had to really put that out there because they be loud AF. And I'm like, I know it's people in the room that's like, that ain't my experience. Yeah. So I think the first thing, y'all, that we want to start with is really, I think there are some things over time. If I look back, so we started working together in 2010, part-time, like we were, doing, had our full-time jobs, and then we were like part-time working with couples and that kind of thing. And so now it's whatever year it is, about to be 2025. And when I think about some of the things that I have seen over time, one of the things that I know that I've observed in terms of people being able to overcome infidelity is that folks who are friends, like true, genuine friends, like Aiza and I, we'll, have our little moments where we're talking with one another about whomever we're serving, whoever we're working with, and we're like, they friends. We can tell they're friends. And of course, we ask them, are you friends? Sometimes people say, no, we're not. And when you are not friends, when you don't have the foundation of friendship, this is where, whether you've dealt with infidelity or not, this will catch your attention tonight. And you should be paying attention to this in your own relationship, because this goes beyond infidelity, right, in many ways. When you don't have friendship at the foundation of your connection, but it's more functional, or maybe your sexual chemistry always been off the charts, right? Whatever. You got married quick because you had a baby coming and y'all just need to make that thing work. But something got skipped, and that something is friendship. It really does make the repair and the healing work more difficult. It doesn't mean that it cannot be done, but that actually has to be a part of the repair. We have to become friends. And so friendship is one of the things that I have noticed that is a major determiner. I don't think that's a determinant, is that the word? Of success, that you have to be friends, and you gotta really care for one another. It's not just like we have this partnership. And a lot of people, y'all, don't even know they're not friends. They don't even know. They're like, yeah, but you're really not. Because if you think about what friends do for one another, the way that friends show up for one another, and you're like, well, they wasn't a friend to me because they cheated on me, right? But I'm talking about separate and apart from your romantic connection, that there is always a solid friendship. When friends show up for one another, they're like, you wrong, but I'm here. I am going to tell you the truth. I don't agree with that, but I want to hear where you're coming from. They stay engaged with you. They don't necessarily, because they disagree with you, turn their backs on you. They might turn away for a minute, but they're going to turn back because they're your friend. They're going to check on you, check in with you, check up on you, because they're friends. And so they're friends with you. So friendship, I think, is really, really important. That's one of the things that I think it's super important. You want to address that question? I haven't read it yet, but
yeah, I just want to say this, that the reason why we're elevating and highlighting the whole friendship piece is because a lot of times people are finding themselves in these functional relationships, and so that may be you right now, where you're existing in a functional relationship, and it's about the routine, the task, the day to day, the rigmarole, and so you're just doing the things that need to be done to survive, and we get it, and so we're not saying that your relationship can't continue if you're not friends, because there's a lot of people who, for the sake of maintaining a functional relationship, stay in a marriage and they're unhappy. We're talking about what undergirds the relationship, and what can help to sustain, support it, and strengthen it is the friendship. And so it's really important that that's present. And I see we got a question on IG that's saying, but if you're friends first, doesn't that make it 10 times worse? I would say yes. It feels worse because, like, you my homie. You my friend. And so how could you do this to me? And so although it may feel 10 times, 20 times worse because there's betrayal, that also, because of that friendship, it's providing a foundation for you all to rebound and bounce back. For you all to look at yourself, for you all to be vulnerable and to be real about where the mistake was made, where you may have not necessarily taken certain things seriously, where you may have overlooked the opportunities to connect in, where just the gaps that might have existed in a relationship. And so because you are my friend, I care. and I'm trying to fix it. I fucked up, now I'm trying to fix it.
Yeah.
And so, but if I don't care about you, I may fix it because I'm trying to remain in this functional relationship, but because you're my friend, I'm trying to fix it because I care about your heart. Just because we're friends, it don't mean that I'm never gonna make a mistake or my wife is never gonna make a mistake.
Come on, how many of y'all friends? Y'all gonna have some challenging times.
Yeah,
you just like you had to decide: am I gonna keep being friends with her? You know, you might not have said it that way. Am I gonna keep giving this energy and time? All relationships encounter challenges, and some are very, very drastic, traumatic challenges. And those challenges, in and of themselves, are not an indicator that I don't need to be in this. And that is the mistake that so many people make. Because this has happened, I don't need to be in this. This isn't, my mother said, I'm gonna take it beyond the relationship dynamic for a second. My mother said this, never again. I'm not talking to her. You ain't talked for years. My sibling said this, my friendship, my friend did this, I'm out. Now, I'm not saying that there are not stone cold boundaries that you should have around some things. But what I am saying is that it's not black and white. You got to go to God. You got to get still, talk to some trusted people, and not just discard relationships because there is great difficulty. I don't want to go too far, but I just have to say this because I'm going to go down another lane in a second. But I'm telling you, the challenges and difficulty and funkiness is a part of the divine design of life. This is how life is set up. If we all, I know y'all have all heard this in some way, shape, or form. If we all just had it just perfect and beautiful and wonderful all the time in all the areas of our life, then we actually probably would not grow. We would not move because we're too comfortable. And so, there's a saying that when you are comfortable, you're not growing. And again, I feel like I got to qualify all down throughout this live stream. It doesn't mean so that I need to experience infidelity to grow. No. Now, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that you, me, we're not so special that we should say, oh no, this is not something that I should have to encounter. I shouldn't have to deal with this. Just check in and see what's going on here. So there's another pattern, y'all. There's another thing that we have noticed over time. And I hope that y'all catch this. I hope that we can really convey this. So this is similar to friendship, but all friendships aren't the same. All friendships don't have the same level of emotional connection. Emotional intimacy. And when people don't have emotional intimacy, first with themselves and then with their partner, it can really set you up to be at risk for infidelity. And this emotional intimacy I'm talking about, to just really try to capture that thing a little bit more, it's like, and I always have to go back to because we learn how to be emotionally intimate, right? Like in childhood. And so it's no secret. I've shared a lot of times in a lot of places that, best mama ever, but my mom wasn't very emotionally available. My father wasn't emotionally or physically available most of the time. So for me, emotional availability, emotional connection, sharing my feelings and talking about my feelings and opening up my heart.
I don't want you to feel alone. So type a 1 in the chat if you experienced a parent that that was not emotionally available for you. Type a 1. Type a 1 in the chat. If you experienced a parent, whether it be your father or your mother, that was not emotionally available. I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel alone out here.
You want me to feel alone? Thank you, husband. Okay. All right. Somebody said real bad. Okay. We the same. So because I didn't experience that, I didn't have it with myself. Like, what does that even mean? I didn't have, I said this earlier today or yesterday, whatever, inside of the Blamily. Like, I was in therapy for a year before I could tell my therapist what I felt. She said, you keep telling me what you think. You're not telling me what you feel. Because I didn't have that access to my emotional insides. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, I couldn't do it with myself, and I couldn't do it with him. I couldn't do it. I can't give what I don't have. And so I'm sharing that because so many people, individuals, and sometimes both individuals in the relationship, you're doing the best that you can, but you are not emotionally connected. And the emotional gaps, whether you are aware of it or not, leave a thirst leave a desire that started a long time ago in childhood. A wanting to be close, a wanting to be known, a wanting to be accepted, a wanting to be loved, but not knowing how to do it, not being able to recognize it when it shows up. And when those emotional gaps are just hanging out in you and in your relationship, there becomes a thirst. Well, it's already there. Like we already established, it's already there from the time you was born, right? You know, because you ain't get it when you were younger. But it increases, you know what I'm saying? And so then when we're not getting that in the relationship, we might not even know we're not. We're just moving along, doing life the way that we know life to be done based on what's been modeled for us. And then we start looking for somebody else, give us some emotional show up. Somebody at work, give us some emotional energy. That's not only fulfilling and thrilling in the moment. It's fascinating, it's new, and it is dangerous. It's dangerous. And so these are the deep level things that people don't recognize that can set you up when you don't have that emotional intimacy. This is something we've seen. This is that deep shit that people don't recognize in terms of how you found yourself where you are when you otherwise had a good marriage. How did we get here? You don't even know what you didn't have. So I just want to share that.
So let's be clear about that, because I can see some people on here possibly asking the question that, but what if you're getting that at home? So I'm showing up for my man, and I'm making sure I satisfy him sexually, and I'm tending to him emotionally. I'm sharing my heart, and I'm inviting him to share his. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to be emotionally available. I'm showing up for my wife. I'm tending her physically and emotionally and spiritually. But yet, like, why is this gap or this hole still here? Why are you... why are you even curious? Because I feel like I'm meeting that need.
Well, I mean, you asking me to speak on it? I'm just, my initial piece would just be, that's what you think. That don't mean that's what it is. You may think, you just because you assess for yourself that you're showing up a certain way, don't mean that's what you're doing. And I know that's rough for a lot of us to digest, but we talk about this all the time inside the Blamely. Your intention is not always your impact. You might be showing up for your partner in a way that best meets your needs, but it doesn't necessarily meet the needs of your partner. And I think the biggest thing that I really want folks to latch onto with this particular piece around these emotional disconnects that are hanging out in relationships is that a lot of times it's unconscious. You don't even know. So you think you are. I mean, I ask people, and so does my husband, all the time about their level of emotional connection, y'all. And they're like, yeah, yes, we are. Yeah. But then when I start peeling it back, right? I know Coach Sonny and Coach Lisa do this, Coach D'Angelo, we start peeling it back and asking more nuanced questions like, oh, no. Well, no, I haven't. Well, no, I don't do that. No, I wouldn't share that, right? You recognize that you only can do what you know. So I think that we oftentimes make assumptions, and we need to be curious about some of the gaps and not judge it. Just know that, like, oh, damn, I ain't even know. Because I sure didn't know when my therapist back in the day was talking about, you keep telling me what you think and not what you feel about some of these gaps. So I want to move.
One more thing. So in addition to what my wife just mentioned, the answer to that question is also that sometimes no matter how much you do, it's not, them being filled is not based off of what you do. Their cup being full is not based off of what you do. The emotional need that's there can't be filled by you. It has to be filled by them. Mm-hmm. And so no matter how much you show up, no matter how much you're doing physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, like it's still their work to do. And so a part of the reason why they may look elsewhere, they may engage somebody else, is not because you lack. It's because they're still trying to get a need met. And so that need that has to be met for them by them. It can't be met by you. So even if they do something elsewhere, they're still chasing. They're still chasing to try to get the need met. But the reality is that it still comes back to them. And so for those of y'all who sit in the seat of being the one that's been hurt based off of betrayal, please know that if your partner shows up in the right way, and if they are showing up correctly, yes, that definitely is a step that they need to take. And there's steps that you need to take as well, too. And so we all need to take steps toward our own individual healing. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes, again, we're looking outside of ourselves for the answers where we need to be going within. And we need to be going to God.
Yes, Lord. Yes. Okay, so there's another one. So this is just, again, this is from the work that we've done over the years, right? There is this dynamic, and if this is coming down your street, Consider this your awakening moment. Hopefully you'll actually stay awake, because we get awake and then we go back to sleep. We like, I'm not ready for that yet. But there's this dynamic, oftentimes, where, hold on one second. You don't want to scroll up on there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my bad. Okay, we're going to come over to you, TikTok, and acknowledge some of your comments. But there's this dynamic, y'all, where, see, this goes back to, I think it was last Relationship Thursday, I was talking about trusting your gut, where one partner, and it's not always the woman, but oftentimes it is, so I'm going to talk from that place. The sister is, like, she's felt that something was off. She felt like, something's going on. She's, approached her spouse every now and then, but he's like, no, what are you talking about? Whatever. And because she didn't get, clear proof, and because he's denying it or maybe even offended that she's saying something, right? The bottom line is there's been an energy going on for a long time in the relationship. It is the elephant in the room, but neither one of them will acknowledge it. Of course, the betraying partner, the person who's cheating, ain't going to acknowledge it. He like, you tripping, ain't nothing going on. But what I'm really getting at is that there are many people who, and some of y'all are on tonight. Y'all know y'all feel something. You know something is happening, but you are waiting for your partner to tell you, or you say stuff like, well, whatever is done in the dark will come to the light. Because you can't find it, you don't know and you ain't really searching for real, you know what I mean? But you feel something in your spirit, like, where he be at, why we don't do this anymore, that kind of stuff, and you are not willing to go and to address it. And a lot of times that's because we're scared of what we're going to find. And so I just see this a lot. And so by the time folks get to us, it's been a year, 2 years, several months. It's been a minute, and you when you come to us, you still not even really saying it because you can't prove it. And I just want to release folks tonight. Go back, y'all. You can go on YouTube where all of these lives are, and look at Relationship Thursdays or whatever, right? Look up Black Love and Marriage, and find the one I did last time. Heal your heart, trust your gut. I want to release folks tonight to trusting your gut. If your gut says, if your intuition says something is off, if some shit is up, then that's what it is. And you need to investigate it until you figure out what it is. We don't have to sit in a place where we are questioning ourselves. That is a whole nother kind of dynamic, because you don't even necessarily feel confident in what you are feeling, and you're questioning, and you're just giving it to God. That's the next thing. People say, I'm just going to give it to God. And I feel something, I'm going to give it to God. God does not want you to put your head in the sand. God does not want you to discount your intuition and your gut. And in fact, your gut is God speaking to you. And I see this a lot, where people can disrupt this pattern or disrupt this funkiness, but they don't even feel confident enough, or like they really have the right to, I guess, because they don't have no proof. You know what I'm saying? And that is a dynamic that we see a whole lot. And here's the thing. Those people, oftentimes, they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. You ain't going nowhere. And why you ain't going nowhere, like, that's for a variety of reasons. Some of you ain't going nowhere and you shouldn't go anywhere. You know that this is the one for you and y'all need to work through it. For others, you're not going anywhere because, you got fears and everything else. But you're not going anywhere, so you don't need to necessarily keep holding out and playing in this pretend land that everything is good when you feel like something else is going on. Get into it. Disrupt that funkiness. I don't know what's going on, boo. I don't know what's happening. I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like something is off. This is happening. This is not happening. There's a disconnect. There's distance between us. You're not answering your phone. Your location is turned off at different times, whatever it is. And what I'm telling you is that it's not okay with me. And we need to get into this. And you need to be owning your voice in that, and not just saying, well, I brought it up, but he said nothing. I brought it up again, he said it wasn't nothing. So that's what, and I've heard people say this to me. I just have to trust him. You just have to trust yourself. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust yourself, and you have to trust God. And that doesn't mean that you have to abandon the marriage, but it doesn't mean that you just say, well, until it come out. No. And I don't even think we realize a lot of times that we're doing that. I see that dynamic a lot where shit is playing out for a long time because you just couldn't put your finger on it. You didn't want to. And we just have to be able to own our feelings and our gut and lean into the discomfort of that. I think that piece is really important.
It is really important.
Are you about to say a but?
I'm not about to say a but.
Yes, you are.
I am about to say an and. And I think that this piece right here is equally important. So what my wife is speaking about is a certain type of person. And there's another type of person who, based off of the trauma of the affair, they're dealing with PTSD. And they're walking around hypersensitive.
Well, I'm talking about somebody who don't know, but you're talking about somebody they've already know that they both experienced infidelity.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
that's different.
So yeah, okay. So that's different. I want to be clear about that. So you've experienced it, it's come out, you've acknowledged it, and now there's PTSD. And so you may have some of those feelings. And so some of y'all are not really addressing your partner while having those feelings after the affair, and you all are trying to heal. But then there's another group of people who are walking around sitting with these feelings and stuff, and this is where the personal work piece comes into play, because you're grappling with the anxiety, you're grappling with the depression, you're grappling with the intrusive thoughts and the triggers, and you're trying to connect the dots, and so sometimes there may be something there, and so trusting your intuition is important, at least to explore and to have the conversation. And then sometimes there may not be anything there. You're feeling something and you're moving, and again, you should go through an exploratory process to see what's real and what's not real. And so again, in trusting your intuition, whether it be prior to discovery or post discovery, the important piece is to go through a process of analyzing and assessing, like, what's really happening here. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation about what had happened, or let's have a conversation about what I feel like may possibly be happening.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So I want to talk about this for just a second, y'all. We become, and I think this is a good thing. I want to be very clear. My husband might have some differences. I don't know. We'll see. But I think as a society, and it depends on who you are, we become much more progressive in our understanding of things. I want to talk a little bit about the different ways people approach their marriages and their relationships. Back in the day, I'm talking about back in the day, probably even before our time, right? Wouldn't nobody be talking, oh Lord. Can you go? Okay, y'all, excuse me, bro. Pause. You saw that?
No.
Okay, our son needs to go to work. Can you go talk to him and see if the other son can take him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I told him we would, but I'm not quite ready. Yeah, see and if not, then, but it's 10 minutes till, so Uber might be a little bit. Okay, y'all, sorry. We're just handling children's stuff. Okay, y'all, so back in the day, we wouldn't even be talking about some of these things, but I was literally on a training today. I was in a training, with like whatever, it was about couples therapy, right? So one of the things that we talked about is the different ways that people engage in relationships and the different dynamics that you have to deal with now as a couples therapist, as a couples coach. And some of those things are like ethical non-monogamy. So we have monogamous relationships, right? But we also have ethical non-monogamy. Some of y'all like, ain't nothing ethical about it, right? Some of y'all feel like that, but there are a lot of people who have agreed and come inside of their relationship together and said, we're going to be ethically non-monogamous. And I love you, but we're going to agree that we are able to get our sexual needs met outside of the marriage as well. So that would be ethical non-monogamy. Okay, you gone? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, my husband has to go take our son to work, so y'all stuck with me now. So ethical non-monogamy. The other piece is open relationships, right? Y'all heard these? Let me know if y'all know what I'm talking about when I talk about ethical non-monogamy, when I talk about open relationships, open marriages, and we want to bring somebody into our marriage. Somebody said, wait a damn minute, right? There are polyamorous relationships, polyamorous marriages, right? So there's a lot of different dynamics now, and I'm going to tell you all a story that I actually heard in my training today where it complicates things. And I think that some of what we're exposed to in society, online, all the things, contributes to some of this infidelity stuff happening. And we were talking in our training day about, like, is this infidelity? Is it not? All of that kind of stuff. But the example I want to share with you is there was a couple that during COVID, they were experiencing a lot of financial challenges and stuff like that, right? And so they were not a non-monogamous couple. They were monogamous, right? They weren't open or anything like that. But they were experiencing a lot of financial challenges, to the point of, look, Gwenda said, no. Like getting ready to get put out of their house and stuff like that. So they came together and they decided as a couple together, the wife decided, but the wife didn't decide on her own. They decided as a couple that she would begin going online. I don't know what she used. I don't know if it was OnlyFans or whatever, but she started sending pictures of herself and that kind of thing and making money online, with sexual pictures and images and, stuff like that. So this was what they agreed on. And husband said, like, I'm cool with that. It started bringing in money. This is just a transaction. If that's going to help us out, I'm all good with that, right? I'm all good with that. And then what happened? What happened was she had a particular person who kept coming back over and over and over again. And he was really, talking with her, wanting to see more of her, right? And she never went outside of the parameters of what her and her husband agreed to, but there was some level of connection. And this is what I always say: you play with fire, you're gonna get burnt. Blah, 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 blah. I just had to put that blah, blah on that joint, okay? Like, you're gonna get burnt. Now, I'm not judging, because we work with folks who are non-monogamous, all of that, right? That's not our specialty, but we definitely know how to make room for that. We are trained to do that. But then he started feeling some type of way, and he said, you have been cheating. And she said, wait a minute, how have I been cheating? He said this is infidelity. She said, how is it infidelity? He said, because it's emotional infidelity, because you have an emotional connection with this dude. And this is something that they, again, agreed to and go forward with together, that she would do this. And they struggled through that, and they eventually divorced. And so there are so many, I'm sharing that to say there are so many different things with technology now, these different cultural norms and expectations around what is cheating, what isn't, all of these things that we can, in this instance, we can engage in this, and this will help us out as a family. She thought she was contributing to the family financially, right? And we have all these things that kind of come in and can mess things up and mix things up. And I think that this makes things very, very difficult, because I have counseled and coached many a person who was online talking with somebody, getting a little stimulation, right? And there was no emotional connection, no physical contact, and they was today years old when they came in a session with us, and we said that's infidelity. Because your partner didn't know it. And here's what we can be clear about. Here's we didn't say this at the outset. Anything that you do that you would not do in the presence of your partner, or with their full awareness, is probably infidelity. And a lot of folks get confused. And I think that is something I have observed over time. And this is why it is important to make sure that you all have an agreed upon standard about what marriage is, about what commitment is, about the level of transparency y'all are willing to have about how you feeling as you move through this dynamic of being in relationship with one another, and as you move through the journey of marriage. You have to be able to have those kind of conversations. You've got to be willing to share, because there are so many things that people are being exposed to out here. And yeah, it ain't for everybody. But there's a lot. There's a couple that I used to work with back in the day, and they were swingers, and well, let me put it like this. So they how you say it? They swung before they came together. I be cracking myself up sometimes, y'all. They swung back, and they both dibbled and dabbled in some swinging activity before they came together, and they discovered that. They discovered that as they, moved along in their emotional intimacy and connecting, and they were like, we want to do this together. So they came to us to talk about how they could open that door up in their relationship and move into doing some swinging. Swinging is not the same, just as a sidebar for y'all, as an open marriage. It's not the same. It's not the same as ethical non-monogamy, right? That is, we are coming together, we're married, that's ethical non-monogamy, or open marriage, and we are deciding that we're going to go outside of the marriage to have sex. We're going to make sure that we are always sharing transparently with one another who we are with and what's happening at all times, and we agree on standards. But swinging is, hey, we want to go and play. I mean, that's the simplest way for me to say it. And we're going to go do that together, and it's about sexual kind of, connection in different environments, right? They got clubs, they got everything, right? They got swinging situations just for married people. I don't even know why I'm telling you all of this, but I am just letting you know that there are a lot of different variables now that you're dealing with, that we're all dealing with. Y'all quiet. Why y'all ain't saying nothing? I'm curious. Y'all on IG, y'all quiet. On TikTok, y'all quiet. And in the blame, y'all just listening like, what y'all doing? You looking at me like this? I don't know, but y'all are quiet. Y'all are quiet. But I think that dynamic complicates things and sets people up for being in places and spaces where they get caught up because things are normalized. And you need to remember that the only norm that you need to adhere to is the one that is established by you and your partner. And if I just add something on there, the one that's established by God, the God of your understanding. I'm not talking about the God of my understanding. I'm not talking about the God that this is what it says, and this. I'm not trying to have a doctrine here to make you be like this. I'm saying the God of your understanding. You need to come together with your partner, and y'all need to develop your norm. And many couples have not done that. Because I have to say, some of y'all might not like it, but I remember working with a couple back in the day who was non-monogamous. And their level of transparency, truth-telling, emotional connection, willingness to let it be known, be naked with one another. I'm not talking about physically. I'm talking about emotionally, to challenge one another, to grow together, was far beyond many married couples who are in monogamous relationships that I know. They were quite advanced, but they were non-monogamous. So digest that, chew on that. You might not be for it, right? But the point I'm making is not the context you choose and the way you choose to live your life, but you got to have these conversations, and you got to be clear about what your standard is. And there's so many standards out here, and we can't be taking standards off of Instagram. I know I'm on Instagram right now. Right, but we gotta be able to develop our own sense of centering, and our belief is that God should be at the center at all times, and that starts with getting still within yourself, and seeking your own spiritual guidance, so that you know that everything that y'all do is guided by that. And while many of you all think that all means the same thing for everybody, it does not. It is not. But that's how you are successful in a relationship. So those are some of the things that we have noticed over time. I'm looking at my notes to make sure that I've covered everything. There's a couple other things, but I want to shift into vulnerability and avoidance, and then we'll be done this evening. I know y'all know about vulnerability. You're like, oh, she's gonna talk about that vulnerability thing. That's the V word. Type a V in the chat if you with me. Even if you don't want to, type it anyway. Type a V in the chat. Let me drop this for you. If you had chosen, if anybody, if you were in this and you had this happen to you, if you had chosen perhaps to be vulnerable with your partner, to share your truth. Thank you for the V's. Tony Marcus, how you gonna put a B though? If you had chosen to be vulnerable, it's a choice. It's not natural necessarily. It's a choice. But if you had chosen to be vulnerable in your marriage or your relationship, if you experienced infidelity or cheating, if you had chosen to do that, many of you would have avoided or prevented going down that infidelity lane in the first place. To share your innermost thoughts, your innermost concerns, your innermost fears, frustrations. So many people avoid addressing the difficult topics, that you don't want to talk about the sexual dissatisfaction. You don't want to talk about the unmet emotional needs. You don't do it until you reach a crisis point, and the crisis is the infidelity. And if we just understand the vulnerability is not just one of those things to do like, oh yeah, like, yeah, I should do that. No, like it is literally the pathway to safety. It's the pathway to what my husband talked about at the beginning, emotional safety. Because one of two things are going to happen. See, people don't want to talk about these things because, like, you know, what if we just have a conversation about this sexual dissatisfaction, and that's just going to create more funkiness in the relationship between the two of us, and she might not be trying to move in the way that I want her to move, or he ain't trying to move in the way. What is it going to do? Like, we're going to still be stuck in the same place. Do y'all tell me if you understand what I'm saying? Like, I think that people just avoid because you don't think anything is going to come out of it. I think if you thought something would come from it, we would be vulnerable. But we actually think like that's going to make them be defensive. They're not going to hear what I'm saying. Their feelings going to be really hurt. Or even if we go through all of that, they're not going to shift and move. I want to say this. That is true some of the time. You will tell, how many of y'all have told your partner something and they ain't changed? Yeah, Tony, avoidance due to fear. They ain't changed nothing. That happens. You know what I'm saying? So then you're like, what for what? So I'm going to create all of this riffraff up in the relationship so that we can just be in the same place? But I want you to envision what it could look like for you to be connected. What it could look like for you to have that sexual chemistry. What it could look like for you to be able to share and actually have your heart heard. You know what I'm saying? Like, what would that look like? What would that feel like? I think that with our relationships and what we want it to feel like, we got to start getting into visioning. It's the end of the year. This is that time where people start to do vision boards and stuff. Some of y'all need to do a vision board. Coach D'Angelo has been working on that and has been doing that inside of the Blamely for folks in their lives. And we need to do that with our relationships. We need to do that with our marriages in terms of like what we want to feel like. Because if you cannot see it, if you cannot taste it enough, if you cannot envision it enough, if it is not something that you are really trying to push for, then you will just settle and say, well, that shit ain't going to happen. So then you do not take the risk to be vulnerable. Any kind of come up in your life, any kind of come up in your marriage or relationship, any kind of achievement has to come after a great risk. It has to come after a great deposit that you make, a surrender that you make, a sacrifice that you make, a willingness that you have to be out here in this marriage feeling exposed. I told it, I said it, and I still am feeling pretty rejected right now. There has to be a willingness to stay engaged. I'm going to go back and kind of get myself together, and I'm going to come back. I'm not going to just tap out and stay out. And too many people tap out and stay out while you married. You know, this is our company, right? And our brand is Black Love and Marriage. But I tell people all the time, there's a whole lot of married folks who ain't married. You ain't married. It's a whole lot of folks who are dating and have more in their relationships that reflect the commitment, the risk, the vulnerability, the courage of what marriage requires than some married folks. And I just think that this piece around vulnerability has to be at the forefront of your mind when you're thinking about infidelity. And I have, and not just overcoming it, but becoming all of who you need to be. All of who you need to be. Lord have mercy. There are so many people that got so many issues that they did not address, and now the infidelity is on the horizon. Now that's there, well, not on the horizon. You know what I'm trying to say, but it's in the room now. We can only talk about that now because we got to get that together, and then we got to get to the other issues. But if you had been vulnerable, you might have prevented some of this. It might have got real sticky in the relationship. Your conflict might have gone up. It might have been feeling real funky, but you wouldn't have been dealing with infidelity. Because there are three positions. Blamily is used to me saying this. There are three positions you can be at any time in your relationship. You can turn towards your partner, you can turn away from your partner, you can turn against your partner. Many of you choose to turn away from your partner around the difficult issues, and that stacks up over time. It creates resentment. It creates more distance. It creates more disconnect. And that is not the cause for the infidelity. Be clear, that is not what I'm saying. But it is a contributing factor. I mean, how can it not be, right? It's not the cause. People make decisions, and that's on them. It ain't on nobody else but them. But it is a contributing factor. And so we got to pay attention to this piece around being vulnerable at any given time. When you're having a hard time being vulnerable, can I just share this with you? I shared this with a client earlier this week. A couple of clients, they were, saying, "What do you think? What needs to happen right now?" You're like, "What? I don't know. I'm just feeling stuck." And I said, "You're afraid, right? We just talked about that, Marcus. Talked about fear. You're afraid, and you're not trusting. You're not trusting." Now, some of y'all say, "Trusting." This whole infidelity thing is about, again, you've revoked the trust from the relationship, but there's got to be a trust that you exhibit for yourself, a trust in your own intuition, in inside of you, your own gut, your own self. There's got to be a trust for God, trusting God that wherever I am, you are with me, and you are working with me through this process. And there's got to be a trusting of the process. When you are not vulnerable, you got to trust the process, and you got to trust God. Too many of us are looking at and looking for our partners to show up a certain way, be a certain way, respond a certain way, tap dance a certain way, take it back, make it better, apologize, do all these things in order for us to feel like we can lean in and do what we need to do. When what we need to do and how we need to flow, how we need to move is only dependent on what you and God know you need to do. Maybe you, God, and your coach. You, God, and your therapist, right? You should have your own bar, your own barometer of what you're supposed to be doing in your marriage, in your relationship, whether you're experiencing infidelity or you're trying to prevent infidelity. But at the end of the day, many of us roll based on what our partners do and don't do. We're very reactive, very, very, very reactive. No proactive movement. How many of y'all know what I'm talking about? No proactivity. I don't think that's a word. No proactive. There's just kind of seeing what they doing. Are they in a mood? I'm in a mood. Are they short with their words? Well, I'll be short with mine. Is he going to ask, are we going to go out and have a date night? Is he going to say anything? Well, fine. Then I'm going out with my girlfriends. Let me call her up right now so we can go out. You know what I'm saying? And that is not going to advance you anywhere. It's not going to advance you as an individual. It's not going to advance your marriage. So we got to pay attention to some of these things. And these are just some of the things that we have noticed over time. Lord have mercy, supporting couples with infidelity. There's so many layers inside of the couple dynamic. I want to, we're going to get to that another time. Lord have mercy. It's so much. But I just want to say this. I want you all, any questions, any comments, go ahead and drop them now. You might have been dropping them and I might have missed them, but go ahead and drop it now. And let me know your question or your comment. Drop it again. If you did it already, do it again. Yeah. So Nunu said, very true. Nunu said, sometimes when you're vulnerable, they take the opportunity to victimize themselves. I think what you're saying is like, you're vulnerable, right? And then they make themselves the victim. You're trying to share with them where you are, and then they turn it around and make it about them. I think that's what you're saying. Let me find out, Nunu, how you put, okay, that's you, but how you gonna put that comment and then you tagged yourself and said facts? I ain't never seen that before. You tagged yourself like I'm responding to myself facts. or maybe you were saying something that you was probably doing that to something I was saying. Okay, just ignore me. But I think that is true. But this is why it's important for us to have our own centering, our own grounding about what it is that we need to do. So, I know for myself, y'all, that there are there are certain areas where I need to grow and things that I need to do. I know that I tend to be defensive. I know now I'm just kind of broadening this, right? This is not about infidelity per se, but I know I tend to be defensive as my first go-to. I know that I might not empathize with like my husband. Like I might not get soft with him when he's telling me something. Like my intellect comes up and I'm like, you know, that's my first go-to. So I know that for myself. So that is something that I am always aware of and I am paying attention to in terms of my own personal development. So if my husband does not respond to me in the way that I need, or he is making himself a victim or turning something around, it's going to impact me and I'm going to feel some type of way, but it does not deter me from doing the thing that I need to do because I know where I need to grow. I know what's needed for me and what's needed for the marriage. Come on back in, babe. My baby back. We can right in, but come on back to end. So I'm saying that to say, if you don't have clarity about that, I'm talking about the type of crystal clear clarity where it's written down. Like, let me go back, because sometimes I have to go back to my journal, to my notes for myself. What's up, boo?
What up, boo?
I gotta do that to remember what am I supposed to be working on. Like, you know, we know, but sometimes my emotions is so overwhelming that, you know, I conveniently forget. So, you know, I think that piece is important. LaGwenda said, how can I listen without getting offended when my man is speaking to me? I love this question. Because I just told y'all my go-to is being defensive, right? But before you're defensive, you are usually offended, right, in some way. Now, I'm going to answer this in two ways. I'm going to make it quick because I know I'll be talking a lot. I'm going to make it quick. You're not going to, the goal is not to not be offended necessarily off the top. That's not the first goal. The first goal is to be able to manage your tendency to be offended. I know that about myself. So if I know that about myself, I have some go-to things where I'm like, in my mind, like, take a deep breath, right? I have some things that I do to center myself. I keep my mouth closed. Because if I open it, it's probably not going to be good, you know, in the first few minutes. So the first goal is not to not be offended, because that's how you set up right now. And then the longer term work, right, is really about exploring why do I get offended? Why am I sensitive about this area? Why does that cause an anger reaction in me? What is that about? You know what I'm saying? And I can get into that. But, you know, the first piece when you're listening is, you know, just learn how to manage in the moment. So I think that was a great question. When her partner is giving feedback, you know what I'm saying, that may be difficult for her. So my husband has come back for us to conclude, and I think that this has been a great live. I really hope that you got something from it. Did y'all get something from it? Could you just put a 1 in the chat if you got something from it? Put a 1 in the chat if you got something from it. I want to know. Don't leave me hanging. But I want to say this. So I started out by saying that tonight we decided that this topic would be what it is. You know, these things that we've learned about supporting couples through infidelity, we decided to go here because over the years, we've just seen so many things. And this is a persistent and pervasive problem. A persistent and pervasive problem for folks. You know, I mean, people will come and be saying, we need to work on our communication. Meanwhile, it's been cheating going on. They don't even say nothing about that. Like, I'm like, wow. You know, like there's so much that people are dealing with regards to this whole piece around fidelity and faithfulness and trust and safety in a relationship. And I just want to drop a little bug for you all to be on the lookout, especially if this is coming all down your street, that in 2025, we are going to be addressing this. What is this? Oh, Lord, drag the public. Okay, hold on, TikTok. Is this TikTok? Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened to TikTok. Something happened, and it was telling me to put a puzzle piece in place. I don't know what's that, y'all?
Scroll back up.
Oh, okay, sorry. But in 2025, we are really going to be addressing this in a very, very specific way. We have an amazing thing that we're working on because we see the need, and we're really going to take it to a whole nother level in 2025 to support couples who are dealing with infidelity. So just be on the lookout for that. That's important for those who it's important to, because it's coming. And I'm ready because I feel that this is an area that needs a lot of focus. And we talked at great length about this thing.
I'm really surprised, like, that you still on talking when I came back. I'm really surprised.
You surprised? I don't know why you surprised when I be talking. I be talking.
You be talking a lot, but I wasn't expecting.
But I do. I be like, and I'm out.
Yeah.
I know.
Nah, but I'm glad that you all showed up to engage in this, and it's a very sensitive area, so it should be handled with care. And we definitely prioritize handling this topic with care, because we want you to be well. We want you to be well. We want the relationship to be well, and so definitely. Stay close and keep your ears open, and we are going to support you in this process of dealing with this. And it's not anything that's light because it impacts not just you, but it impacts your family. It impacts your family. We were watching a movie last night, and
did we finish it? Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was a very powerful
That was so
movie.
good. Tell them what they need to watch that.
Yeah, it's called Exhibiting Forgiveness.
Has anybody seen that? Exhibiting Forgiveness. On what?
It was
Netflix.
Nah, I think we rented it. So
Prime. It was on Prime.
Yeah, Prime. So if you get a chance to check it out, but just the ways in which your family dynamics, your upbringing, have an impact on self-perception and how you engage other relationships. That thing is real, y'all. It really is real, and so I'm lifting this up within the context of infidelity because what you do in your marriage is impacting your children. They're seeing, they're experiencing, they're feeling, and they're being informed and influenced in terms of their own personal behavior and the way they navigate relationships as they get older. And so, again, don't take it lightly, y'all. This right here is definitely something that needs to be looked at. We need to peel back the layers and help you to unpack so that you can heal.
Okay, so I'm surprised a lot of people haven't seen it. Maybe it just came out, but it's called Exhibiting Forgiveness. I see some folks asking, what's the name of it again? Exhibiting Forgiveness, and it's on Prime, and it's very good. It's not about infidelity, like it's not about that, but it's about well, y'all just go look at it. But it's a good movie because a lot of the work that we do gets into your family dynamics that are contributing to your relationship disconnects. And actually they wasn't having no relationship disconnects, but it was talking about it's a father and son
dynamic. But then also how wives and women participate in the process in terms of trying to protect the child, but also trying to protect their man, and how we see the best in the person, even though they may have abused us and victimized us, and it's really fascinating, like what we do. The places that our minds go to cope, and to excuse behavior, and when you're dealing with all of that, like, how do you get to a place of forgiveness, of healing, so that you can, show up better, not just in your romantic relationship, but for your children as well.
Very good. Okay, what's up, Jack and Jill fam? Okay, y'all. So we done. Be on the lookout because it's coming soon. We're going to start talking more about what we're working on with regards to supporting people with infidelity, overcoming infidelity. We're going to be talking more and more about that in the coming days and weeks. And we just want to encourage you to continue to show up for yourself, for your relationship, because it matters. It matters. Yeah. All right, y'all. Everybody be easy. Oh, and look at y'all. TikTok, y'all done stayed on. Y'all done stayed on and went up and, okay now. Very good. And then if you all want to be in touch with us to learn more about our services, the infidelity program that we have coming out, or anything else, you can go to Instagram and TikTok. You can go to our bio, and you'll see a consultation link and that kind of thing, so you can schedule. All right?
Did I say something about the other thing? Or no?
That's up to you, man. I mean, right? The other thing, because we got something going on. I usually be behind all the like blood hell.
Yeah.
Right. So this is separate and apart from infidelity. But go ahead.
So, and I'm talking to. I mean, we got the Blamley in front of us right now. But if you're a part of, have y'all heard about over here on Instagram and and TikTok? What?
So can I go so I can start dinner? I'm good, right?
Yeah.
Peace. Bye, y'all.
Have y'all heard about our Blamley? Our Blam Core Group Coaching Community? If you have, type a 1 in the chat. YouTube, if you have, type a 1 in the chat. If you have not, I just want to see who I'm speaking to before I go into detail about this, because it may not be necessary. Sunny put a 1. Let us know. Let us know whether or not you've heard about the Blamily, affectionately known as the Blamily. That's our Blam Core group coaching community. Let me know in the chat. Type a 1 if yes. Type 2 if no. Type 2 if no. And it's all good if you haven't. I mean, more people have not than have. And so I just want to see who we got, in the room. All right, I saw 1, 2. And so I'm assuming that most people have not. And so let me go ahead and share really quickly. So we have a group coaching community called the Blam Core Group. Okay, I'm seeing the 2s come through now. It's our group coaching community. And this group coaching community is so dope. And so if you've been following us for any period of time, you'll know that we have, on a monthly basis, we got a men's lounge that happens twice per month. We got expert office hours that happens, bi-weekly. We have a number of things that are textual date nights, and we got monthly trainings. We got different courses that you can take around communication and, et cetera, et cetera. So communication, conflict management, sex and intimacy. And so these are all areas that many folks struggle with in their relationship. Many folks struggle with it in their relationship. And so we get that. Now, with that being said, we also recognize that when it comes to being in a relationship, like you can't, or it's extremely difficult for you to navigate these uncomfortable places on your own. And so we created this group coaching community because we know that people need support. And a part of the reason that people need support is because they feel like they're trying to move through it in isolation, and they don't necessarily feel like they're being seen, being heard, et cetera, et cetera. And so we got this group coaching community created to support you. And so tonight, y'all, I'm lifting this up. We're kicking off an end of the year sale that starts tonight. It starts tonight at 12 a.m. Eastern. I guess that's tomorrow morning. And so do me a favor and type EOY in the chat if you're interested. Type EOY in the chat if you're interested. And I'm going to double back. Well, you can send us a direct message. Send us a DM with the word EOY, and you'll definitely get a EOY, end of year. You'll definitely get a message from us with the opportunity to come into the community. Like, yeah, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so make sure you DM us the word EOY, end of year, and we'll reach out to you to let you know what the deal is. And so, all right, fam, that's that. This is something, if you're dealing with infidelity, this is something that you should, when we shared earlier, we got something special and specific for that. If you're dealing with communication, conflict management, sex and intimacy, overcoming those types of challenges, Blam Core is definitely a, where you want to be. No, it is not free. It is not free. That's not the EOY. Let me be clear about that. But, if you need support and you, value your relationship and you want a safe space with folks that are leaned into a process of healing and overcoming, then you want to make sure that you reach out to us because it's the lowest price ever. So, holler at us. All right, fam, that's it. That's all. I'm going to holler at y'all. And, again, we look forward to building with you, connecting with you. Y'all be easy. Peace out.